Encourage us to love friends and family who are convinced that they are saved, but there's no fruit there, or it doesn't appear to be there, without being judgmental? Or how do you navigate that? What is your advice to us?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there isn't a man in this room, I'm willing to say, who does not have a family member pretty close somewhere to your family tree that professes to know Christ, but there is strong reason to call into question the authenticity of their profession of faith in Christ. And what should we do? Well, number one, we need to remember that only God can convert them, and only God can save them. So we can't force a round peg into a square hole and make them believe. And if they're going to be saved, it's going to be in God's timing and at that appointed time. Second thing is we need to love them and build bridges to them, not burn bridges, but build bridges that we can carry the gospel across. And then third, pray that God would give us the appropriate time to be able to speak to them about where they are with the Lord. And I underscore the words appropriate time. That God, who controls circumstances, must orchestrate a divine appointment that is just the right time for you to speak to them about where they are with the Lord. And that must be done depending on the relationship that you have with that family member, will determine how abrupt or how non-abrupt you need to be. And so you have to be sensitive to that. When Jesus spoke to Nicodemus, he was as abrupt could be. I mean, Nicodemus hadn't even asked the question, and Jesus answered him, "You must be born again." With the woman at the well, next chapter, he builds a bridge to her. "Give me a drink of water." And is graciously approaching her. And so those are two different approaches, and none of them are the same. And we can go to other examples of Jesus addressing people. That carries over into our family relationships. And we also need to remember, and this is fourth or fifth, that these can be very tender relationships. And there's been a lot of buildup over many years. And so it requires the wisdom of Solomon. Because within families, you know where those hot buttons are. And there have been things that have led up to this opportunity to talk to them over many years. And so it's not like talking to a stranger that you sometimes can just kind of barrel your way into this. With a family member, it just takes a lot of grace and a lot of discernment and a lot of wisdom to know how to push the fence posts out and how far you can extend this. And it would also depend on their age as well. I mean, if this family member is 90 years old and they're on their deathbed and they're in the hospital, you're going to be more aggressive. If this family member is 21 and from our human perspective has many more years left, I mean, you don't have to totally, completely say it all in this one time. There is pre-evangelism opportunities as well as evangelistic opportunities. And sometimes we're just plowing the ground. Sometimes we're just sowing the seed. Sometimes we're just watering the seed. Sometimes we're just weeding the soil. And it doesn't always happen, for a farmer. You don't sow the seed and reap the harvest the same day. It doesn't always have to happen in the same moment. And we need to be aware of that as well. Having said that, there does need to be at times urgency about the immediacy of the moment as well. So I see the clock that we've gone past 8. Kent, is there anything that's come in on the hotline there?
Yeah, we have some, but I think we're out of time.
Okay, we're out of time, Kent says. So